Hello, my name is Rachel Czarneki. Today we're going over emergency preparedness heat safety. Now today we brought with us our emergency preparedness boxes. When you prepare it, you can have them either in a clear box like this so you can see the contents inside, or an identifiable backpack such as this that's bright color so you know where it is. Now every season you can do different kits. This one is specifically titrated towards heat preparedness because it is the summer. So in our boxes, we're going to go over the contents of what you should be having in it to help yourself be prepared. Some of the contents that you should have in your box, most importantly, is water. How much water you say? That is a great question. You should have enough to last you typically about 3 days. Now, the amount of water that a man and a woman needs is different. Men need 3.7 liters per day, so you're looking at almost a milk jug worth. And then women only need 2.7 liters per day because we're mostly water, we're built for survival. Now, I obviously don't have enough water with me to last 3 days, so I am surely gonna perish, so please be more prepared than me when you pack your kits. Something else you should have in mind is enough food to last you for 3 days. And the food should be something healthy that have a lot of electrolytes and the essential building blocks that you need to help maintain healthy body systems. So you're looking at like things with lots of sodium, potassium, magnesium, things like that. So trail mix is a really good option. Your nuts and seeds have a lot of the things that your body's gonna need, especially if you're sweating them out. Now, once again, you're gonna need enough food for 3 days. I'm probably not gonna waste away because I have reserves, but at least I have something to get me through until I can find help. Now, if you are putting food in here, it is important to set a reminder either on a calendar or a phone or something like that to have alerts to change out your ingredients or your food that you have in here because they will expire and you don't want to leave yourself in a situation where you don't have access to actual edible food. Something else to keep in mind is if you pack canned items, please bring a can opener or else you will not be able to open it and you will starve. Something else that is always handy to bring, toilet paper, because if you're eating and drinking, things are going to be coming out and you're going to need to clean. Hand sanitizer is also a very great thing to have. So after you clean yourself, it's really important to remember to be cleaning yourself after because you don't want to actually get any like bacterial infections or stuff like that while you're stranded in the middle of nowhere waiting for help or in a place where you can't access help. Cleanliness is key. Other important things to be packing, if you don't have a strong voice, having emergency whistles, or another alternate for that is a siren. Now this is actually an emergency pack radio, and it comes with a solar power option or a battery option. Remember to pack extra batteries. And you can also plug it into your car to charge, and it can charge your phone, and it comes with a siren option. I don't know if I want to actually display it to you guys because it's really loud. And it comes equipped with a flashlight and access to the radio. But yes, there is a hand crank option here too if you actually are stuck in the middle of nowhere, so you can charge it. Very handy to have. One of my favorite items, the almighty multi-purpose garbage bag. Now these are great for heat or in the cold or any emergency you're going to be facing. If you don't have enough hands, you can toss all your things in here. If it's raining outside, cut a hole in the top. You got a makeshift poncho, very stylish. If you're for some reason stranded in the wilderness for ages, you can put them on your feet and wrap it up with tape, and you've got yourself some homemade shoes. If it's really, really hot, you can throw ice in here or whatever and use it to cool yourself down. If you're stuck in the rain or something, you can cut it in half and make yourself shelter. Keep the rain right off you. These are always a great thing to have with you. Now, nightlight glow sticks. So if for some reason you can't find your hand crank radio and you don't have a flashlight and you need to wave down some attention, or you happen to just get invited to a rave and you need some emergency glow sticks, so you have them in your pack. A foil blanket. Now these are great for when it's really cold, but they can also be used in the heat. If you put them over yourself with something like a cooling pack per se, they will trap the heat in or the cold inside. But don't fall asleep with these on because you'll probably end up cooking yourself at some point. Just like be awake if you're using these during the heat. But if it's cold season, you're stuck in the wilderness, wrap yourself up like one of these and you'll be like a little shiny foil baked potato. some work gloves. So if for some reason there's something that happens during the emergency and there's like damage to areas and you have to get through safely and you have to move debris or sharp objects, gloves to prevent injuries are also a very good thing to have. Now, if you do manage to hurt yourself for some reason during the emergency, a small first aid kit is super great. You can get these at the dollar store, and we also provide them in our backpack through our Fraser Valley Brain Injury Association. They actually will provide you with one of these backpacks with some of the essentials, not all the essentials, which is why we're going over some of the other things to be carrying. Duct tape, we were talking about earlier for making your shoes. You can use it for shelter, you can use it for whatever. Duct tape is just great. If it has a hole, if WD doesn't fix it, duct tape will. Now, if you're planning on leaving your house, your emergency kit should have some medications for yourself in a bag. If you're taking more than one, or you have trouble remembering like me, because I am also a person with a brain injury, having things written down on the front, like what's in the bag, how often you should be taking it, and what it looks like, because I forget what they look like, is really important. Feel free to make one of these little packs. And once again, with your reminder for your phone, like with the food, medication will also expire. And also please refer to the bottles and see if there's storage requirements for your medications, because some of them can't be left in certain conditions. And then I have some other little things that I need because I'm just a person with a lot of medical needs. And these ones have the instructions on them because, I can afford to have these in here. Now, extra flashlights, always great to have. And extra batteries. Just because, you don't know what's going on sometimes, and if you're stuck out in the dark, it'll help prevent accidents and it can help signal attention. They're always just really good. Now, I actually picked one of these guys up for mine. It is an emergency pack. It actually has pretty much everything that you need to put in your car. You can find these online, but if you can't afford them, it has a lot of stuff that you can just pick up at the dollar store and what we already have here, but at least it's a backup to have in your vehicle. Okay, electronic devices. So you're always going to have a phone on you. Something important to have is something to plug your phone into if you have to go to an emergency shelter per se, or if you have a vehicle, having a vehicle socket or a wall socket, and also having your cord or an extra cord in your bag. So at least you'll always be with your emergency. You'll be able to access your phone in emergencies. Having a source of fire, if you need, is also very good, because if you're stuck without a house and you have to cook food or something, or light candles to keep warm, this is more of a heat safety box though. It is good to have one. Also, in my box, I threw in an extra pen, because if I have to write down any important information on something, like if there's a place to go for a shelter, then I can actually write it down and remember. And this one actually has a little flashlight on the end. And then for also something else to have, a pair of scissors. So if you have to open up your food packages or something like that, or get into bandages in your first aid, or cut your handy-dandy multi-purpose bag into something to utilize, you have a pair of scissors. Or if you're getting attacked by the zombies after the apocalypse, you got a little weapon. Now for heat safety, it's good to have a little towel in your bag that you can wet down. You can put it around your neck, put it over your forehead, or if you're just sweating a lot, you got something to wipe your sweat off of or to clean yourself, it's good. Having a little spray bottle with some water to keep cool, and then maybe one of these little dollar store fans, so once you spray yourself, you can fan yourself off and stay cold. And that's pretty much it for the contents of what to do for a heat safety, pretty much general emergency preparedness box. Now these boxes are pretty much formulated what I've gone through for one person. Something to keep in mind is how many people are in your household, so packing enough things for all the people that are going to be in your residence. And also to remember your furry companions. Hi Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, I love it.
Okay, so for Jeffrey, he's pretty simple. He's a possum, he just has his own life. So we packed with some garbage to eat in case of emergency if we have to go, and a water bowl so he has something to eat and drink out of. Jeffrey's not on any medications. If your pet is on a medication, be sure to pack some extras. And also having vet records if you have to leave and drop them off at a shelter is a very good idea.
Nice.
Very good.
Jeffrey.
Something else to consider having is your own emergency preparedness book, so you can access all the information if there is a power outage. All this information is available on the Fraser Valley Brain Injury website, although you can also get yourself a hard copy. And because I am somebody that has trouble reading, I like to put sticky notes on pages with pictures to show myself where I need to go to find certain information. And of course it just fell off, so make sure you keep better care of yours than mine, because it's important to be able to access information. This will go over all your essentials, like what you should have in your kits, how much of what you should have in your kits, what to do during certain emergencies like heat, earthquakes, floods, just all your essentials, and it also has your evacuation plans in here. Now you can also ask your case manager to provide you with an actual evacuation plan. I've actually made these. They are only a few pages long, and they will go over all the information that you will need if you have to leave your house, and it's a good visual reminder that you have everything that you need for yourself and your pets. These also can be put into envelopes to put on your fridge, so if for some reason you're incapacitated and search and rescue or emergency services come to you, they are trained to look on your fridge for these, and they will find this and it will have all the information of the things that you need and your healthcare needs. I'd like to introduce you to Safety Dan. Safety Dan is going to be helping us learn about first aid and signs and symptoms of heat overload. Now, the most common symptoms of heat overload also actually mimic that of a brain injury, so it's really hard to differentiate whether you're just having like sensory overload from your personal injuries or if you've just been exposed to too much heat. A way to combat that is actually having an internal thermostat somewhere inside your house so you can look at the dial and make sure your house is not getting too hot. We will do another section on that later. Okay, so one of the main symptoms of being exposed to too much heat is headaches. Dizziness is also a really big sign, and confusion. Oh, this just sounds like brain injury to me. Being very tired as well is a big symptom of being exposed to too much heat. Once again, this just sounds like one of us, doesn't it? Now, one of the best ways to try to tell this apart is if your skin is very hot to the touch. So feel your forehead, feel around, like are you feeling like you're definitely overheating? Now if it's hot inside your environment, yeah, you're probably gonna start feeling warm. Excessive sweating is also a good key to go off of if you are going into heat overload. Oh, he has really sweaty armpits today, look at that, oh God. Having seizures, because these are not being met, or you're not taking care of all these symptoms, is common. And also you can end up cooking your brain from being in the heat too long. And I don't know about you guys, but I cannot afford to lose more brain cells. So it's really important to recognize these symptoms and start cooling yourself down immediately. However, you want to be careful with cooling yourself down because you don't want to actually have the opposite of this, which is hyperthermia, and put yourself into hypothermia where now you're freezing. So ways to combat this. Number one, we can start by putting on appropriate clothing for the heat. Sorry, Safety Dan, but you're just not dressed for the weather. So some good things to wear if you're in the safety of your own home and you are not under the judgmental eyes of anybody else is just like, a pair of boxers or underwear, like, just be comfortable, or like a nice loose shirt. Now, if you do have other people and you want to be a little more decent, just put on like a nice baggy t-shirt or whatever so you have that airflow, right? There we go. Getting those windows closed in your house, because like if you have windows open, you have all that sound pouring in, it's just cooking your little fish tank of an environment, and it's not good. So let's black out those curtains. Getting into a nice cold environment is key. One of the best ways to do that is jumping in the shower. Get yourself all cooled off. There we go. And also having a fan going to help circulate cold air. Now, if your house is too hot, you're just going to end up, you're going to be ending up blowing hot air all over the place, and you're going to be convection cooking yourself. So if you're going to have a fan going, make sure that it's in a cool environment. You can actually turn a fan into your own homemade air conditioner by getting a tub, like your emergency tubs over here, and filling it up with ice or water, and it will help cool things down. Or you can get a damp towel and place it over top of the back so the air getting sucked through is dampened and wet. However, if you have like an older style fan and stuff, make sure that that's not going to snag and get jammed in the motors and cause problems like that. Just be conscientious about your setup. Using ice packs as well is really good. Having like a bag of ice in your fridge, or having those dollar store packs, really great. You can use ice packs. The most effective places to use them are your armpits, because you lose a lot of heat under here and you have a lot of vascular, it's very vascular, so it will cool off your circulatory system really fast. And also the inside of your groin, so sticking a nice ice pack right in between your legs, that's going to work really good. And also to prevent your brain from cooking, putting one at the back of your neck or on your forehead is also a really good idea. Now, staying hydrated is also very important. Having lots and lots of water, but not too much water, because you don't want to actually cause water toxicity, which is a thing, but it takes quite a bit of water to do that. But being mindful of how much water you're drinking and staying hydrated is a key to help prevent seizures. No, that's not a bottle of wine, Dan, it's water. You have to behave yourself. Also, having electrolytes, because if you are sweating profusely, you're losing electrolytes, and that can still cause imbalances in your system and lead to seizures. So having a nice healthy snack. We're not having Doritos today, then we're gonna have our bag of trail mix that we packed in our emergency kit. So some nice fruits and nuts, something with salt and magnesium, potassium, that will help keep all those things in check. And also great to do is if you're getting tired of going in and out of the shower and you just wanna be comfy in your living room, once again, these clear tubs are they're really good to have. You can take one of those, fill it up with water, sit in front of the couch and put on Jeopardy, fill it up with some ice and water and stick your feet in. That should cool you off real nice. Okay, so one of the things that we should also go over is how to keep your home cool over the extreme heat in the summer. Now, how hot was too hot? That's a great question. The internal environment of your home should be 25 degrees Celsius or 78 degrees Fahrenheit. If it starts getting hotter than that, then it's becoming an environment in which you're going to start sweating and losing electrolytes, and you can actually start developing the symptoms that we were talking about in our emergency first aid response. So having the environment controlled is your #1 first step to protecting yourself with heat-related illnesses. Now, for people that live in houses, you know, it might be a little bit easier. Living in an apartment or an upper floor of a house or something like that, it can be a little bit more tricky, because when you're exposed to heat likes to rise, and your upstairs floors are gonna get a lot hotter than your lower floors. So in the summer, having like a heat emergency room in the lower levels of your house or the basement is a great idea. It will typically be a lot cooler than upstairs. Now, ways that you can keep your house cool. Windows are one of the biggest sources of heat getting in. If you can block those out, cover them up. One of the cheapest ways to do it, if you don't want to buy those fancy reflective shades, is just get some cardboard and take them up there or prop them up. This will help keep the light out and the heat out and help keep your internal environment a lot cooler. Proper weather stripping is very important too. You can pick up those roller tapes at the dollar store and put them around your doors or any surfaces where heat can be coming in and cold air can be coming out. And that will help insulate the house a little bit better. Also, if you have air conditioners and stuff like that, utilizing them is really important. If you don't, there are ways that you can create your own air conditioning units. Also, having water running inside the house, or having a basin of water sitting, like filling up your tub and just leaving it there, or filling up your kitchen sinks, will actually absorb heat from the environment and help cool down the ambient temperature of your area. Something to keep in mind too is if you have patios and children, making sure pets and children aren't getting closed out on the patios in direct sunlight, because that could be dangerous for them. So remember the small ones. So now that we've talked about the importance of an emergency kit, let's talk about the importance of having a life box. What is a life box, you may ask? Great question. A life box is a storage container in which you keep all the important documents that you will need to access if there is an emergency. Now, an emergency life box like this, it's going to have some information that you might not want to be sharing with other people or have exposed to like the general public. So make sure you're putting these in a very safe spot if you do decide to create one. Now, what goes in a life box, you might ask? That is a good question. So any personal information, so passports, driver's license, anything like that you might need if you're not using it, to go into that box. Things like emergency contacts for your friends and families, medical documents, so prescriptions, passwords for your computers or any of your accounts that you need to access if there was an emergency, utility bills, If you have to contact your utilities for some reason after an emergency, you have all the contact information and records of payment or things like that. Banking information, so any of your banks that you have, your transit numbers, things like that. Once again, if it is sensitive information you don't want having exposed to other people in your household, or if you have, you know, situations in which you don't want this around, it's okay to take like screenshots on your cell phone where it's password or face protected. You know, just having access to some of this information is good in case of an emergency. Taxes, you're legally required to keep all your tax information for a few years, so having those in here, so if you have to, for some reason, reference those, you'll have them on you. If you're on a pension, having your pension information or person with disability information to keep receiving your benefits after the fact. And if you have to change your living address after too, then you have all the information to set that up. Any of your housing information, so rental agreements, your land ownership titles, stuff like that can go in the box too. Investments, your assets, liabilities, and loans. Safety deposit box informations are key. Personal notes and items that you don't want to be losing in case there is an emergency. Any spare keys, so if for some reason you're locked out of a car or something like that and it's an emergency, or your partner has the keys for something, you have set as well. And any end-of-life directions, so your personal wills and stuff like that too. So they're ready to go if there is an emergency, and you can pick it up and carry it away. And that concludes emergency preparedness.
Ding 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 ding.
Oh my God, an emergency! Come on, Kyle, let's go!